Today we're going to be talking about the TT-1200, which can be used on its own or in a complete package, including a controller and a second turntable. This is really nice, not just for DJing, but for home use as well. If you're going to be looking for a turntable, this might be the turntable you're looking for. We're going to cover all the features and benefits in today's video. The Gemini TT-1200 is a belt-drive turntable. And what does that mean? Well, if we take the actual disc and we're going to take the actual felt padding off, put that over here, we're going to see that inside the actual platter, there's some slots. And that means on this side here, we're going to have a belt. It's very important because if you get this turntable, you're going to need to assemble this yourself. Now for quality and performance of the unit does a really great job. It's a digital drive system to it, which basically means that there's electronics inside of it that's controlling the speed and making sure that it's right. 33 or 45, it'll play both, no problem. The overall layout of it is a traditional setup. It's like, turntables are like cars. They have a certain way. I mean, the steering wheel is always in the same place. We're not going to put the steering wheel on the floor. We're going to put it right in front of us. Same thing with the pedals. We're going to put them where they normally should be. Again, we have a pitch control, which we can actually see that increase and decrease right here, but you can absolutely hear it when you're playing it. You get your play pause button off to one side. You get your 33 and 45. Again, things are in a traditional place. We don't want to mix things up too much because we want to be able to use this in a lot of different formats. Of course, at home, we want to be able to play this and we want to be able to have it work no problem. Of course, what comes in the box but not installed, it is pre-assembled, and that's an important feature here, is the actual cartridge and cartridge assembly. So this whole thing as one piece is a cartridge assembly, which includes three pieces. The main body, this portion here, then you have the cartridge here, and then you have the stylus right at the end. There's a plastic cover on top of that, which only for transportation purposes are you going to want to put that back on there. If you just having it on your table, you don't have to return this every single time. This is just really transport purposes. 4-pin contact. The nice part is this technology has gotten to us to this point where we basically just take the arm, line it up. There's a little pin there that lines everything. Screw the back plate against the actual cartridge assembly, and the whole thing goes on just like that. Now you can replace both the stylus and cartridge as two separate pieces on this unit, again making it very easy and convenient. Now there are three actual controls on this actual turntable. Lots of them are going to have these three controls. Some of them may actually even have a fourth, but in this case we have three. We have the lever, which is going to basically drive the unit up and down right here. That brings up and down the arm. Then we're going to have a counterweight on the back side, which is going to allow us to balance off the arm properly. And we're basically looking to get neutral, +1, +2, +3, that sort of thing. Then we have an anti-skid control right off in the back. Now the anti-skid, I'll explain and show you how that works. It's confusing. Sometimes people misleading by what's written on it, but I'll show you what that's really about. So with the arm, I'm trying to go for a neutral balance. Now this is if we have it at home. DJs will set this up a little bit differently. They may set this up heavier. And I'm going to keep backing off until when I pick it up, it almost doesn't want to go down. And that's really what you're shooting for. There you go. So now it's like floating. There's no difference between up and down when it comes to weight. You can then set your weight to 0, and then you can turn the whole unit forward, depending on the cartridge or style assembly you have, to what is appropriate. And then you'll be all set to drive your record. There you go. No worries at that point. It's done. It's easy to go. Now again, like I said, DJs will have it slightly heavier. Let's talk about the Antiskate here for a moment. A lot of people see it and they're not sure what to do with it. And basically what it does is it allows the actual arm to pull in opposite direction to centrifugal force. As the record's pulling this way, it wants to pull the arm inward. That's causing a force, a tension that's going to lean back on it. It's kind of like when you're driving around in a circle in your car or driving onto an on-ramp. It leans back on the other side. Now in this case, it is very subtle. 1-2 grams, we're talking very small amounts, will actually cause a subtle volume difference between those two tracks because it's pushing more on the one side, less on the other. That Antiskate offset that, bring that back to normal. Literally tiny, small amounts, a gram or two. We're talking just enough to stop it from having a difference. Pitch originally was just so this way you can bring your actual record into balance. When it was an analog motor drive system, you really had to define that. Different power source, how old the motor was, that sort of thing would define how fast the actual platter would turn on top. And then you would just adjust that either with a sliding or with a dial. In this case, they're all sliders now because they're used for DJing a lot. So that's put right in there. And for DJs, just to let you know, there is a notch in the actual resting position. So let's have a better look at the back and all the actual features. So when we look at it, we're going to see a couple of things. Now, most importantly are these feet. They're little balloon rubber feet, and they have very good traction to them. The idea is that they can take a good bounce before we even have to worry about the arm on top having to absorb any of those vibrations. Done really, really well. The overall turntable weighs just shy of 8 pounds, so that does put some good weight against the actual feet. Now, when we look at the overall features and options that are located in the back, it's going to be all the plug-in options. So what do we have? We've got the line output, which is the left and right, a switch between line and phono. So if you don't have a phono on your receiver or amplifier, by all means, you can run it in line, which means that you can plug this into any new or old receiver or complete system like we have here. You also get your USB option, which includes Audacity as part of the software package, but Audacity is now a nice free option that you can get as well. So cable included, that's also very nice. Power input right on the back is going to be included. Of course, you get a nice AC power cord, and it goes from 100 to 240 right there, no worries. And then you've got your power switch. It's pretty straightforward after that, very easy to use. Now, people ask me about, should the turntable have a cover? It doesn't need a cover. If you have a cover, it kind of throws the weight and balance off a little bit on it, adds a little more weight to the back of the feet, and that has to be compensated. So normally, a lot of turntables today don't have covers on them. That's just normal. And to be honest, I'm more worried about getting dust on my actual records than anything else. So I'll put this away back in its sleeve and jacket to protect the record. So if, again, you're looking for a good turntable to start off with, and you're thinking of getting yourself a Belt-Drive turntable, the TT-1200 might be the right one for you. Well, I hope this video helped you out today in your buying decision when it comes to a turntable. Hopefully you were able to feel comfortable with all the setup options that are on it and how the actual turntable itself works. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.